Okay, Gen Zs and Millennials, let's talk. Some people say they're not going to give birth to children because raising kids is very expensive, and they don't think they can afford raising kids and children and the likes. But I also want to ask this question: getting old is also expensive. At least where I am in Canada, if you are old, your healthcare cost, housing, everything is also expensive. But are we also going to say we're not going to grow old because we don't want to deal with the expenses that comes with old age? Yeah, I said no. Everybody wants to grow old. Yeah, we want to live to 75, but we also want to live to 85. So, but we wouldn't say we want to avoid older people's expenses and therefore we don't grow old. Now, let's really address the elephant in the room. That's the essence of this video. I have been thinking, I am in close to my 40s, and I'm really thinking hard about myself, about my wife, about my children, about the future, about generations to come. And I'm also thinking about the fact that governments across the world, whether in Africa or in Europe or in America or in Canada, are constantly telling us that they cannot afford, okay, they cannot afford to take care of their citizens. They are not coming out to say it clearly, but it's written clearly that governments are owing billions and billions in dollar. Take America, for example, is owing about $38 trillion in debt. So a country is such debt and it's even going down fast, at least as seen by its trade partners who don't want to deal with it anymore, as seen by companies not buying up its bonds. So even companies that we think are really up there, large companies, large economies, G7 countries are having issues to deal with, struggling with debt, struggling with geopolitical tensions, okay, struggling, okay, to keep its citizens wealthy. Here we are growing in that same world where government is not guaranteeing us the future that we need. What does that tell you and me? What that tells you and me is that our future in such landscape is in our hands. But you need a video like this to sound a wake-up call to you. And this video is also a wake-up call for me. That right now, this is the time to start building the future that we think we deserve. The future we think we deserve will not come from the government or from our employers. It will come from intentional planning and execution based on informed knowledge. Gone are those days that you could start a business and post your products on the social media and expect people to buy it. It's getting harder to sell. It's getting harder to make money because selling and making money these days requires deep knowledge of customers, deep knowledge of marketing, deep knowledge of sales, and most of these things were not taught in school. So if you are struggling as a small business owner to even sell, it is not your fault. You were not taught. But from now on, if you keep failing, it is not your fault because you are not embracing knowledge. So when you know that the odd is against you, you have to work twice or 3 times or 4 times to get results. You would begin to work your ass out. And it's not just any kind of working, it is strategic working, information-based working. So many people underestimate the work they need to get done to make money. So they think there's a government somewhere. I started by saying governments are getting broke. They're in debt, suffocating in debt. Governments all over across the world have bigger issues they are dealing with than the wealth of its citizens. If governments really care about the wealth of their citizens, they won't be borrowing money and also stealing the money. I know some countries right now that borrow money for an infrastructure from World Bank, from IMF, but such money still end up in the politicians' pockets. So do you still think you can depend on such government for the future of yourself and your children? Or you think at old age, such government has got your back? There are governments across the world that are doing very well. They are doing as much as they can to keep its citizens wealthy. They're making sure that their per capita income is growing and their gross domestic product is going. But if you live in a country that does not have a plan for its citizen, this video is for you. And you really need to start planning the future that you read right now. We have AI tools. that has democratized, yeah, democratize knowledge. So if you want knowledge on how to succeed in your small business, you really need to go back to your school. Now, it is not the traditional 4 walls, but you need to go to your YouTube school, wherever knowledge is, to start updating yourself. Don't think you're going to succeed in your small business by the knowledge you are taught in your traditional school. It's not going to work. Things have changed. Platform has changed. People's behavior has changed. Do you even recognize the behavioral pattern of your market? Do you even understand who your target customer is? Let alone understanding their behavioral pattern. Because people's behavioral pattern determines how much they're going to spend on what product, when, and where. So if you don't even have a customer persona, buyer persona, you don't even understand who your ideal customer is in your small business, how would you want to target them? So this knowledge is found on the internet, but you really need to see the fact that you are going to do times 2, times 3, times 4, okay, of what we used to do, of the effort we used to put to get the same result right now. And you begin to put pressure on yourself to get results. So the essence of this video is that as Gen Z, as a millennial, your future is what you are starting to build. And no parent, no government, no employer will build the future for you. Your decisions are your power tools to steer the course of your life in the direction that you want. So that's the essence of the video. It's a wake-up call for us all to start taking the bull by the horn. No one will do it for us. Thank you for watching.